In the heart of the whispering woods, nestled amongst the roots of ancient trees, lay the bustling borough town of Cloverfield. Life here was a tapestry of simple joys: the sweet scent of morning dew on clover, the cheerful chatter of families, and the gentle rhythm of paws on soft earth. The rabbits of Cloverfield were a peaceful folk, content with their sun-dappled glades and cozy, interconnected burrows. They believed their little world was a sanctuary, a haven untouched by the harsh realities of the world beyond their woods. They were wrong. One day, the clear blue sky, their familiar canopy of comfort, darkened. Shadows, vast and menacing, swept across the valley. They were not the fleeting shadows of clouds, but something sharp, swift, and alive. High above, the sky eagles had arrived. Hailing from the jagged, unforgiving peaks of the distant Ironclaw Mountains, these were fearsome predators, their screeches echoing like a death knell through the once peaceful air. The eagles descended like feathered thunderbolts, their talons sharp as obsidian, their eyes burning with a cruel hunger. The idyllic life of Cloverfield was shattered in an instant. Panic rippled through the warrens as the eagles began to terrorize the rabbits, their raids growing bolder and more frequent with each passing day. Fear, cold and sharp, threatened to paralyze the community. Many whispered of surrender, of abandoning their homes to the cruel invaders. But not all were ready to yield. From the heart of the Grand Warren, a voice of defiance rose. It belonged to General Pipkin, a rabbit whose fur was flecked with grey from seasons past, but whose eyes held the unyielding fire of a warrior. He had seen conflict before, in his younger days, and he knew that freedom was never given, it was earned. Standing before the trembling council of elders, his voice rang with conviction. "We will not cower in our own homes," he declared. "We will not trade our freedom for a cage of fear. Cloverfield is our home, and we will defend it." His words were a spark in the darkness, igniting a flame of hope in the hearts of the younger rabbits. They rallied around him, their fear transforming into a steely resolve. But how could they, a community of gentle earth dwellers, fight against masters of the sky? Pipkin knew brute force was not their strength. Their power lay in their minds, their unity, and their deep knowledge of the woods. "The eagles have wings," Pipkin explained to his new recruits, "but we have ingenuity. They have talons, but we have teamwork." And so began the great undertaking. The burrows of Cloverfield were transformed into bustling workshops. Under Pipkin's guidance, the rabbits became inventors, engineers, and builders. They repurposed everything they could find. Old farming tools, discarded bits of wood, and sturdy vines were fashioned into clever contraptions. They built intricate networks of spring-loaded traps that could launch nets made of woven brambles, designed to entangle an eagle's wings. They constructed giant slingshots, powerful enough to hurl hardened clay pellets and sticky pine cones high into the air, creating a barrage that would disrupt the eagle's flight patterns. Their most ambitious project, however, was born from a young rabbit's dream of flight. A clever doe named Hazel, a student of wind and leaves, proposed a radical idea. What if they could meet the eagles in their own domain? The idea seemed impossible, but Pipkin saw the genius in it. Using lightweight balsa wood from the riverbanks and a collection of tough, tightly woven fabrics made from plant fibers, they began to construct small, nimble flying machines. These weren't meant for sustained flight, but for short, controlled glides. They were single rabbit gliders, launched from the high branches of the tallest trees, designed to be agile and unpredictable. The bravest of the young rabbits, known as the Thistledown Squadron, began to train, learning to navigate the air currents and perform daring aerial maneuvers. Cloverfield was no longer just a town. It was a fortress, readying itself for the inevitable storm. The eagles, led by the formidable and ruthless General Talon, had grown arrogant. They saw the rabbits' frantic activity on the ground as the pointless scurrying of frightened prey. Talon was a magnificent and terrifying creature, his wingspan blotting out the sun, his talons scarred from 100 battles. He scoffed at the rabbits' defiance. He decided it was time to crush their foolish rebellion once and for all, to make an example of Cloverfield that would echo through the valleys for generations. He gathered his entire flock, a dark cloud of screeching fury, and prepared for a final, overwhelming assault. The day of the battle dawned grey and ominous. The sky was thick with eagles, their cries a deafening symphony of aggression. General Talon swooped low, his voice a guttural command. "The sky and everything beneath it belongs to us. Leave nothing but dust and fear." The full-scale assault began. The eagles dove in waves, a torrent of feathered death aimed at the heart of the borough town. But this time, the rabbits were ready. As the first wave of eagles descended, the ground erupted. Nets shot into the air, entangling several attackers who crashed to the earth, bewildered and enraged. The giant slingshots unleashed their barrage, and the sky filled with a hail of clay and pine cones, forcing the eagles to break their perfect formations. Chaos rippled through their ranks. They had expected terror, not organized resistance. Then, from the canopy of the forest, the second phase of Pipkin's plan was unleashed. The Thistledown Squadron launched. The small, fabric-winged gliders shot into the air, not to fight the eagles head-on, but to harass, distract, and disrupt. They were like gnats to a lion, too small and quick to catch, zipping between the much larger predators, leading them on wild chases through the trees and causing them to collide with each other in their frustration. On the ground, rabbits armed with long, sharpened poles emerged from hidden tunnels, defending the entrances to the burrows and protecting the operators of the slingshots and net traps. The battle raged for hours, a maelstrom of courage and fury. General Pipkin commanded the defense from a central watchtower, his calm orders cutting through the noise of combat. He watched as General Talon, enraged by the unexpected defiance, targeted the Warren Central Square himself. Talon was a force of nature, easily tearing through nets and dodging projectiles. It was then that Pipkin gave the signal for their final, desperate gambit. From the largest, most powerful slingshot, a specially prepared payload was launched. It wasn't a stone, but a huge ball of cloth soaked in a sticky, sweet-smelling concoction made from the nectar of the rarest, most bee-attracting flowers in the woods. The ball soared through the air and splattered directly onto General Talon. For a moment, nothing happened. Talon merely screeched in annoyance. But then, from all corners of the Whispering Woods, they came. Drawn by the irresistible scent, swarms of angry hornets and bees, whose nests the eagles had disturbed for weeks, descended upon the Eagle General. Blinded, stung, and utterly overwhelmed by the thousands of furious insects, Talon lost control. He tumbled from the sky, shrieking not in fury, but in pain and panic. Seeing their invincible leader fall, a wave of shock and fear washed over the eagle flock. Their morale shattered. The organized assault dissolved into a frantic, chaotic retreat. The eagles fled back towards their distant mountains, not as proud conquerors, but as a defeated, broken mob. Silence fell over Cloverfield, broken only by the buzzing of the retreating bees and the weary cheers of the rabbits. The sky was clear once more. They had done it. They had faced the storm and held their ground. Peace, a true and earned peace, returned to the valley. That evening, a great celebration was held in the Grand Warren. The rabbits of Cloverfield, no longer just peaceful burrow dwellers but victorious defenders of their home, honored their heroes, especially the wise General Pipkin and the brave pilots of the Thistledown Squadron. They had learned a valuable lesson, that the size of the heart and the sharpness of the mind are far more powerful than the size of the wings or the sharpness of the talons. Their victory song echoed through the Whispering Woods, a testament to their courage, their ingenuity, and the unshakable spirit of a small community that dared to fight for its freedom. Thank you so much for watching our story today. If you enjoyed this epic tale of courage, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a new adventure. We'll see you in the next video.